G'day and welcome back to the shed. I'm Mark, and today we're going to be talking about a steam whistle that I've had in my collection for a while. The steam whistle works, however, one of the groups I belong to on Facebook, a gentleman reached out with the same sort of whistle asking for a little bit of help, and we'll have a look at that right now. I'll just go over to the talking head where I'm in the corner here, and I'll bring up, this is the whistle in question. And you can see it's quite tall. It's about 2-inch diameter roughly. It's had a bit of a hard life. It does work fine. I haven't I've had it here on home on air. I have actually had it working on steam. So the problem I was having on it, I did do this on the live stream, was that I couldn't separate the tube from the actual valve. The valve has had a bit of abuse. You can see where the lever mounts, it's been broken off, and on the nut where it secures into place has been bashed about with a pair of Stilsons over the years. I believe this whistle came from a factory in Brisbane back in the day when everyone went to work on the whistle and had lunch on the whistle and all that sort of stuff. So the issue I was having was separating the actual tube from the valve. I managed to get it undone with a lot of heat, which did work. I didn't actually capture that on video, which I wish I should have now, but I didn't, but that's the way it is. So we've managed to separate it, and the other thing we're going to look at is what's inside. And as you can see here, this is looking up in the tube to the reed plate, and that's a fairly big lump of a casting which diverts the steam around out through the little openings there to give you that nice tone. You can, if you don't have this right, you can have too much steam coming out. You just won't get the correct ratios and all that sort of thing. But this has seen better days, and we'll put it in the sandblaster and give it a clean up. But we'll go over to the bench cam now and have a look at the valve a bit closer up. Right, it's a pretty sunny day here in my part of the world, and it's a beautiful day. We haven't had a lot of rain lately, but you can see we've got the tube here now separated. You can see that these two pieces here have copped a bit of a hard life. I may have bent that a little bit, but essentially that's what it looks like inside, which you really can't see because it's just too dark, and I'll get that in the sandblaster and give it a clean up. This is the valve body here. I've now got it separated, which will make it easier to work on. This will get a sandblast as well. But the problem we're facing is, you can see this is where the lever goes. That's the lever there, and it's been broken off at some stage. They've been welded back on, a bit on the rough side. There's a nice fine thread, and we're yet to work that out. And we've got a thread down the bottom, pipe thread, and this is the hex where it's been bashed about. And it's got a stamp on here, and I can make out that it's tested A24 or something like that from the factory. I don't know what brand this is. It's very common type. And so what we're going to do is we're going to use this bit of bronze. I'll put it in the lathe. I'll match the thread to this. I'll work that out, and that'll screw onto there, so we can machine this face here. So this face is flat, and we'll tickle that up, and then we'll do something about the hex as well. And while we're at it, we might even put a thread in the bottom there as well, just in case we need to put something in there that's slightly smaller than what that one is. Okay, 1.28 in a pipe thread. So I'll go get me little book. Righto, we're back with the Engineer's Black Book, which is highly recommended. If you haven't got one of these, you really do need to have one. All sorts of conversion charts, thread types, and all that wonderful sort of stuff. So we'll just find the appropriate page where it's got our threads. Okay, so we've got our right page now, which is pretty standard pipe threads. and ours is 1.28 roughly. Okay, so that's 1 inch BSP. That's 11 TPI. I had it wrong. 1.28, 1.3 is nominal size, so that's 1 inch BSP. Now we need to work out this one. This is much finer thread. More than likely it's going to be, it's 1972. It probably won't be a pipe thread. It's slightly under 2 inches. So let's get to work here and get our fine pitch threads. Right, so that's definitely 18 TPI. And if we go back, it could be just a made up pitch thread. It's nothing standard, that's for sure. So what I need to do now is look at the lathe and make sure I can do 18 TPI. That's going to be the limiting factor on machining this. So we'll have a look. Right, we've had a check on the lathe and we can do 18 TPI on this particular lathe. I might have to change the change gears. But anyway, 18 TPI. The actual size doesn't matter. As long as you can chase the thread, you can pretty well machine it on any lathe. So I'll be using this bit of bronze to make our thread so that we can put our valve body, screw our valve body onto there, and then I can machine these surfaces here and get them all cleaned up. We're back over on the lathe now, and this piece of bronze here I've already got it machined, so I will put it in the chuck this end. We'll open it up like so. Get the lathe turning. And because I've already got this end machined here, this is all running really true. So I'll take this cover off and make sure we've got the right number of teeth lined up so we can do the 18 TPI. When I do that, it'll automatically trigger a disconnect, a failsafe, so that the lathe can't be operated while this cover's off. The other thing you may have noticed on the lathe, I've got a piece of 50 by 50 by 3 mil aluminium angle up on the back so that we can put our tools up like so, hang there nicely. See that? I'll give you another view of that later. And that way that'll clean up the top here so I haven't got tools and everything else just sitting up here and knocking around, and I'll be able to have them in some sort of order. I've just got it held in place at the moment by a pair of vice grips. I just need to put a couple of, drill and tap a few holes into here and put a bolt through and just clamp it in place. It'll be a big improvement on the lathe. We've zoomed in over here on the lathe, and these are the change gears here that determine the TPI or thread pitch, especially if you're doing imperial, which we are here. This lathe is set up mainly for metric, but with the use of these gears and changing this one, the top one here needs to be changed over to 40 TPI. And we look at on our chart here on the cover, you can see we've got 18 TPI, and they need to be, A needs to be on the little one, which is 120, and B needs to be on the outer, which is 127 to get the right pitch. And then we have to have the selectors here, these here, all set to the correct numbers or letters that correspond. And I'll start undoing a few things. I'll also need a Allen key T-bar here to undo the socket head cap screw. Just easier to do this sitting down. Maybe I'm getting an old man. So I'll just look at my little chart again. Okay, we're going to be undoing this. So we can back that off. Got to change things. Oh. And that's the neighbour bringing in the wheelie bins, or taking out the wheelie bins. I should have left that engaged so I could undo this. The cover's going back on now. Which is a little bit harder to deal with than I would like. Right. So it goes back over. Now screws, big thumb screws go back on. Some thumb screws, whatever you want to call them. Knobs, knurled knobs, whatever, and that's sitting correctly. And we can now run the lathe. Perfect. With our change gears all set up now, we've got our piece of bronze in here to machine the thread. We're about 52 millimetres or 2 inch, and we'll bring that down to size. Our thread size is 50 millimetres, and so only a couple of mil to come off. That'll be quick, and we'll do that right now. Couple of nice chamfers. Our threading tool is slightly off to one side. It's not quite square. So I'll just release the nut here, wind the tool over. Being loose, I'll just bring the tool in, square it up like that, lock that back down, and we know that's now square to the job. Now I'll just come in and I'll touch off. I'll just go into slow. I'll set my 0 point on the been sitting around a bit too long. And we'll see if we can get, in fact, I'll just come here and I'll just make sure that our 18 TPI is even though that's cutting intermittently, it's just an indication to make sure I'm going to get the threads per inch right, and that looks pretty spot on to me. So I've got the right size. The pitch of the thread is right, so now it's just a case of come in. I'll already got my 0 point. I'll just take a very light cut. I'm going to leave the half nuts engaged on the lathe. I'll just stay in this same gear. And I'll repeat this process over and over again. Take a bit deeper cut. being brass or bronze, if this is bronze, there's no need to use any coolant. Such a small amount that's coming off. If you're repeating it, if you're in a production situation, obviously you'd be doing it, but not for this situation. So for this one, I'll just take another cut at the same depth. This is what some people would call a spring pass. And it's not actually touching, so we're not too worried. We're getting very close, and I'll grab our valve body and see if it wants to screw on. That's pretty damn good, actually. A little bit loose at the start, but that's tightened up very nicely. And that's very similar to the actual tube. When it screws in, it's quite loose at the start, and the thread may be tapered, but it doesn't look like it. And that screws in nicely there. One more pass with the threading tool just to make sure there's no burrs there. They're going to hold us up. And as you saw, just a little slight cut right at the start there. Whoa, that'll do. Disengage the half nuts, tightening up nicely, and we'll give that a run in low speed and make sure just to see how it runs. So that's actually running out a fair bit, a little bit more than what I would have liked. So probably during the manufacturing process that maybe one end was done and the other end was done, and they didn't worry about the run out, which is going to make it a little bit difficult in some respects, because I wanted to give you an idea. Could have been bent over the time as well. So we're going to run at 300. And I was hoping to put a center in there so it would run to give it support, so I can clean that up, but that's all running all over the place. Anyway, time for a boring bar to go in here and put a little chamfer in there so I can put a center in there and give it support while I do this machining. Small boring bar, I'll angle the tool post over, get a nice little chamfer going there, so we can put the roughly 45. It doesn't have to be 45, but that'll do it for this one. like I said, it could have been bent over the years or something like that. So we're just going to make the best of a bad situation. It's now cutting all the way around. I'll just take one more cut. We're going to finish up by just facing this edge here and getting this to clean up a little bit. I'm still not happy with the way it's running and how far out of true it's running. Still a lot more work to go, clean it up. And anyway, let's get on to it. Stop and have a quick look at that. The bottom face here is way better than what it was. The outside diameter of this is still a little bit sketchy, so I'll keep going on that. There we have it. Much better than what it was. Still not perfect, but it'll do. Well, that's the end of part one. This is going to take a bit more work to sort out and finalise. So we'll see you in the next one. Don't forget, Thursday night live at 7:30, live from the shed, and we'll have an update on what's been happening here. And we'll talk to you on the next one. Bye for now.